Hey, Andrew, we should be live on YouTube, so you're ready to go whenever you want. You there, Andrew?
Yes, I just had to unmute myself.
Hey, just to warn you, we will have to end this session to start your next session.
Good. How do I share the share the screen? It's usual. I can control the screen sharing, can I?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I will do that now. Good. Can you see both me and my slides?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thanks. Okay.
And I guess in 30 seconds, go ahead and start.
Okay, I'll wait. People might still be cooking dinner. Okay, I'll start. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my first summary for the day of some work I've been doing with the Perl Foundation. And this one is, what support do Perl beginners need? Okay, so first let me tell you who I am. I'm Andrew Solomon, and my connection with Perl, apart from many years of writing Perl code, is that I provide Perl training through Geek Uni. It's my company where I train people online, and mostly my students are in large companies. Yes, so that's why is it interesting for me to learn what beginners need. So a lot of the people that I teach are in large companies. I'm doing the sort of ramp up into what's Perl compared to all the languages they know before. Not for people who are new to programming. It's for people who are familiar with another language and they want to learn Perl. And however, there is a significant number, not the majority, but a number of trainees who are doing this off their own bat, on their own, not in a large team, where they have people who are there to give them instructions if they're trying to do it all on a Windows box and they can't figure out why the library path doesn't contain where this code is. So that's not the kind of thing that I'm trying to teach, because I don't know the answers to that myself. And the question is, how can we as the Perl community provide support for people who are on their own trying to work this stuff out? That's the question I had. And so I went to the Perl Foundation just because I thought, gee, these guys must know how to go about this. And I was proposing things like, should we put together a Slack chat and provide support that way? And Stuart sort of was asking questions, and it turned out that I don't actually know what the beginners really want. what they'd be comfortable with in terms of the kind of support. So, so you figured out that the first step would be to run a survey. And we, in this case, is a whole bunch of people who contributed lots of ideas and directions on where to go with the survey. So what did we do? We put together this survey. We sent it around to all these interesting places where we thought we might find people new to Perl. And we asked them this question and got 513 responses. It's not a huge number, but it's better than nothing. And I know for a fact that quite a lot of Perl people, people new to Perl, aren't plugged into all these community groups. So, so I feel lucky that we got this many responses. Yeah, there's some shocking news. Hands up if you are shocked. I don't know how you can count the number of people who do that, but okay. Maybe I should, yes, thank you. So I suppose quite a lot of the people in this meeting have been in the Perl world for over 10 years, because I think I'm realizing that that is the majority of Perl developers. This is the good news, I think, that of the people who filled in this survey, more than the people less than 10 years, that the largest group less than 10 years were the people who've been doing it for less than 2 years. So my first reading of this is that we have more people coming into the Perl community. Of course, I know that some other people are going to look at this and think, well, actually, this is an indication that they get a job, they're forced into doing Perl, and they take off and find a Python job somewhere else, or Java, or goodness knows what. Maybe. And we have to run this survey again another few years to see what the answer to this is. So then I needed to nail down who is filling in the survey, because I don't want to pay much attention to the responses from the people who say that they wouldn't make any use of support which you're offering them. Okay. So the bottom group, I basically pulled out all those results before I tried to get some meaningful information from this survey. And unsurprisingly, the people who've been doing it for less than 2 years are desperately after some help. But the people who've been doing it for more than 10 years also need help. And to me, this is, I think that there'll be a lot of people who are using Perl in the same way that I use awk. Whenever I go back to awk, I have to read a lot and remind myself of the quirks and also why I'm doing this instead of using Perl. So, but I've been using it for a long time, and I think that there are still quite a few people using Perl in that context. And this is how they label themselves. Mostly developers. It's a very general term, but sort of not exactly surprisingly, a lot of them thought of Perl as their hobby. And that's because I think it's a passion. And that's something we'll talk about more in the next talk, really. But people use Perl largely because they like it. And that's really positive response from the survey. Then you got sysadmins, DevOps, and integration specialists. That's really interesting. So integration specialists are people who do lots of code to glue systems together. Like you're providing an advertising service for another company. Their ads have to feed into your database somehow, and that's what integration specialists do. They do lots of not very interesting code algorithmically, but basically gluing different systems together. And Perl's fantastic for that because of the regular expressions and so on. So, context. If you look at this chart, the people at the bottom, the blue ones, they're all these people who are filling in the survey because they're doing Perl on their own and they feel the need for some help. Now, the question that I asked was, what kind of help do you want? And from this, we can see people don't want a face-to-face mostly. And I can understand that. I'm a little bit shy, particularly when I'm in a situation where I don't know stuff and I don't even know how to ask the question. So mostly people want to be able to Google search without even fully articulating what their question is and hope they find a solution that's going to get them unstuck. Next thing is look in the discussion forums, maybe posting a question. I think that I should have separated that into two separate questions, actually, reading discussion forums and posting questions in them. I think even though video tutorials are great, if you really know that they're going to answer the question that you have, sometimes it's a big investment in time and you find out at the end, actually, they weren't covering what I thought they would. So again, they don't rank too highly. Real-time chat. Now, this is the idea that I had when I came into this, and I realized it was a bad idea because it was the second least favorite approach to getting help. Furthermore, there's so many different kinds of real-time chat. It would be difficult to have any kind of impact because whichever one you choose, more people aren't using it than are. There's no majority saying this is our favorite real-time chat. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on doing real-time chat. If people want to do it, that's great, but don't go out of your way thinking that you can make a big impact on the Perl newcomers. Now, far more interesting than the numbers are the kinds of things that people are saying in the comments. If I Google my question and the answer isn't on Stack Overflow or Perlmux, I'm in a pickle. That's a very accurate statement someone is making. So yes, you do Google search, and there are not that many different places where you can go. You know, look in the first 3 links, it's one of those, or you're not going to find the answer, basically. So we, as a community, if you want to be helpful to newcomers, then we should try and populate Stack Overflow, Perlmux further with the kinds of things, kinds of questions which people are asking us. Interestingly, I don't think I've got a link here, but in another document, which I'll point you to later, in Stack Overflow, if you can think of a question or type of question which people are asking over and over in different forms, you can actually post the question and the answer in Stack Overflow. And, you know, they do all the Google tuning. I mean, they basically have a lot of impact in terms of Google searches. So if you want to make a difference, ask yourself a question in Stack Overflow. Perl ecosystem is big and confusing to newcomers. That's a fact. No one can deny it. Our culture, which people love, is Tim Toady. For anyone who's a beginner in this chat, Tim Toady stands for there is more than one way to do it. That's sort of like a defining principle of the Perl community. That said, it makes it very difficult to write an authoritative textbook or lecture or course of any kind. And so when you ask for help and ideas about how to pursue this problem, you'll get, if you get answers, you'll get lots of different answers, which is a little bit confusing. The other thing is that CPAN is, I think, one of our greatest assets, but it's difficult to understand when you look at the modules in CPAN, even if they look like they serve the purpose that you're in need of. It's not clear which ones you can trust and which ones are suitable for beginners and that kind of stuff. So it would be nice to be offered one or several complete sets of steps that beginners can take to do OO, website, database, etc., without having to make choices as they go. Beginners don't want to make choices. I think that's fair to say. We need forums where you aren't made to feel like an idiot for asking dumb questions, or don't have to be a guru to be heard. Now, this is a sensitive topic, I know, but I think, to be honest, this is a kind of thing that people find is not inviting about the Perl community. And I don't think we need that. Look at us, we're getting old. We don't want to scare away the newcomers. So we have to think of different ways of making it more welcoming. And another point is that early career developers who are younger than me, they want an IDE. I had to look up in the dictionary what IDE means. Interactive development environment. It means not Vim, not Ed, not even Emacs. And they want tutorials. So some progress has been made. We have managed to consolidate 3 grant proposals. So if you or you know anybody who'd be willing to contribute to things like a guideline on which IDE to use, or improving the IDEs that are there, or doing a Perl course, an online Perl course, then here are grant proposals, and it'd be great if someone would pick up on that. So that's it. If you would like to plot around, get your hands on this stuff, get involved, please send an email, and I will link you with whoever I can to be helpful. There's an article on the Perl Foundation's blog with a bit more detail, and there's the raw data from the survey for you to get a different interpretation if you want. So that's it. Are there any questions?
And if you have a question, just go ahead and speak.
Carl, sorry, just saw your hand. Do I have to press a button to... Carl?
Carl, we cannot hear you.
Sorry?
Someone has a question. I'm not sure we can hear him, even if he's unmuted.
Maybe you can type it. Here's the chat. Oh, lots of questions. Should I be going through this?
Can you hear me now?
I do, thank you.
Okay. Excuse me, I had my camera unplugged because when I plugged it in, I couldn't hear you earlier.
It's okay, you got nothing to hide.
So what did I want to say or ask? So I've heard I don't follow it myself. The IRC Perl channel, pound
Yeah.
Perl, was unwelcome. I've heard that it is very unwelcoming to newcomers and that there's disdain for apparent stupid questions. I don't know if that's true. But yeah, but my experience, I actually don't do much Perl programming anymore because I write for the Perl core, which is written in C. And so mostly I just write test files, which don't require too much Perl knowledge. And I know that Stack Overflow is good for my C questions, almost always. And I don't know how incomplete the Perl answers are. I do follow Stack Overflow Perl questions, and there are people like Ikegami who seem to do a good job of answering those. So I don't know if that's a question or.
It was a comment, which yeah, I think these are the things I've heard too. Truth is, yeah, I do sometimes feel a bit scared that I'm about to post a question in IRC, and I think we need to work on this because, yeah, I mean, if people don't feel comfortable asking questions, then they'll be slower at getting started, and so we won't, as a community, grow. I haven't yet got any ideas about how to approach this.
My experience on P5P, pound P5P, is people are extremely helpful to me. There are times when I ask a question and nobody's around who knows the answer, but when they are, I don't get disdainful responses.
Oh, good.
Andrew,
Thank you. Yeah.
sorry. One of the questions I had is what I guess what we're looking for is P5U. Like if P5P is for the porters and the hard code, what are we going to do next and maintain the language? What we're really looking for is P5U. And I don't think it's a mailing list. I think it's a conglomeration of all this stuff. It's
Can you expand on that terminology? P5P and P5U. Can you just
that already?
Well, but by P5P, I meant the mailing list.
Whatever you want with it.
Okay.
Okay. So you want the functional equivalent of P5U, P5 users.
So it goes back on top of that empty paycan.
But
Yeah.
somebody else talking?
Okay, good.
You done?
No, I got so angry with Jackie. She was arguing with me in the
Did I?
meditation.
I'm not muted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess the idea is what we're looking for is the functionality, but we're not on a mailing list. You're looking for P5U effectively. But I don't think it's going to be a single entity. I think you have to tie together IRC and the Facebook pages and Stack Overflow and Reddit. I mean, I'm not quite sure there's any one place you could establish.
That's the hard thing, isn't it?
Right?
I think we just need people from the community who are sort of already embedded in those places.
Yeah, it's almost like, yeah, it's like if P5P is the 12 disciples, the rest of us are go forth and proselytize. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a rather bad analogy, but so when I'm scrolling at night looking at my friends' cat memes, I'll pop onto the Facebook pages and see if there's anything interesting going on and start conversations. Check Reddit once a day.
Is, I think, a hard place to share code snippets, but yeah.
We start pointing people to gists. I mean, simple questions are easy. When it starts getting complicated, it's like, okay, fine. Yeah, put the code in the gist and we can talk. And the Facebooks are more of they're more they're more of the social aspect. They're more of the general question aspect. It's not so much codey. I think Reddit ends up being codey. I get, obviously StatFlow ends up being codey and specific. But again, you know, if someone's gonna come to Perl and say, what do I do? They'll probably go to Perl.com or Perl.org. And again, if there was and there may be, I have not checked before I went online, before I said this, but you know, resources. This is where this is where that is, this is where the other is. I don't know how much of the social resources are delineated. You know, maybe that's just
there isn't a single sort of index of where to go, and I think that would be quite helpful.
I think it belongs on Perl.com. Isn't that where people would logically go? Perl.com, like Python.com, or Perl.org, you know, whatever, cross-link them.
I'm putting this in my list of things to do, is to chase up on.
Yeah,
Andrew,
do you need links for the Facebook pages? I'll send them to you.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll put them, I guess I'll put them in Slack and ping you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me do that now.
Any other ideas?
yes, Andrew, I think, I know we've spoken about this in the past, but I think one of the ways that a new programmer comes to Perl potentially is when they've got a computing problem they're looking to solve, for example, parsing a CSV file, and then you're putting that search into Google, and then ideally you want to have some code to get that problem solved. And unfortunately, I did a test in an earlier talk at a previous conference, and parsing CSV files for Perl is now on page 5, 6 of Google. So we're falling off the event horizon there.
Yeah.
And one of the problems is that CPAN is not presenting the information in a consumable way for the searcher, and Google is detecting that. So part of Google's game is to find search solutions to search problems. It's just an association engine in that respect. So I think one of the things that we could do immediately to try and help the situation is to make solutions more salient in CPAN. And what I mean there is cut and pastable, digestible chunks of code that basically solve the problem that someone might be searching for. So for example, parsing a CSV file, I'd want to actually cut and paste from a synopsis exactly what is required to do that, and then basically be able to execute that code as quickly as possible. And then that bootstraps someone into being a Perl programmer. Before they know it, they've got a working Perl program that's solving their problem.
Don't we have that in most CPAN documents? Like
we definitely have synopsis,
yeah.
but we need to have the search problem, the actual keywords that people use in the search, very close to the solution. And a lot of the modules we've got on CPAN, they're multifaceted. So date, time, things like this. There's lots of stuff going on in that module. But actually, people are looking to solve, like, select small.
That's a very good idea. Do you think that you could publish a small explanation of that and have it posted on MetaCPAN? Because I think they'd be welcoming of that. Just saying, instructions on how to describe the functionality of your module. Nigel, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah. I'll I'll shut up in a sec. But one final thing would be that actually you could have a new type of synopsis for a module described in CPAN, so that it's more or less a set of problem solution ways of describing your module. And this takes the pressure off for the CPAN authors, because often it's hard to document all the ways a module could be used. And showing examples is a good way around that.
Definitely.
Okay, I'll shut up.
No, thank you very much, Nigel.
No worries.
Hey guys, so we're reaching the time box, and there is another talk from Andrew. I will have to close this feed.
Before you
Not
do,
open
I've
the-
got to post a link to the raw data and the search results. I will post the whole.
It would be better if you put that in Pound Perl in Slack.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, we'll see you guys at the next session.